What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. Hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and man, what a time to start the recording. Apparently, there's a delivery going on because my dogs, Bear and Honey, are going wild, to say the least. I hope you're having a very happy hump day. It is Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. The Dallas Cowboys are 1-1. It is the best time of year. Sports everywhere, important sports everywhere. We've obviously got the NFL, college football, but amazing baseball happening basically on a nightly basis. And I'm only going to say it once. It's a great time to be a Houston Astros fan. It's always a great time. It's a little bit tenuous right now with the Yordan Alvarez thing. I know there's a lot of you who are Texas Rangers fans, and so it's always awkward. So I'm just going to leave it there and we'll move on. The Cowboys is why we're all here. I do daily videos, live shows, all sorts of fun stuff, talking Dallas Cowboys football. So if you haven't yet, please like the video, please subscribe, and you can hang out with me on social media on any level. I'm RJ Ochoa most places, rj.ochoa on TikTok, got a Facebook page. The links to all these things are down in the description below. If you are on the internet talking about the Cowboys or talking about anything somewhere, I promise you that I am there talking about the Cowboys. I'm also very caffeinated, so let's go ahead and get into today's discussion. And if you do, subscribe to this channel, if you do follow me on social media, I feel like what I'm about to say is pretty fair. Now, look, I have moments where I'm off and incorrect and wrong, whatever. I mean, nobody's perfect, right? But for the most part, I am not a homer. For the most part, I feel like I am grounded in objectivity. Again, I have misses, I make mistakes, I'm wrong, whatever. I genuinely feel that way about myself. Maybe I need to self-evaluate. But I bring this up to say I have been kind of taken aback this week. I've been a little bit taken aback at how I kind of feel like the most positive person with regards to the Cowboys. Now, I know that's not true, but I mean, it's hump day, it's Wednesday, and I do some radio hits locally in the state of Texas on Wednesdays specifically. Shout out to my guy Ward White at ESPN Central Texas and my dudes at San Antonio Sports Star, Jason Minix and Joe Reinagel. And in my conversations with them today on Wednesday, I feel kind of alone. I feel like I am a little bit more bullish on the Cowboys than most are. I know. They eked out a win in overtime in the final seconds against a moribund New York Giants team. I know we don't think much of the Giants. I know that they caught some breaks and whatnot. And I am not a just results-oriented person. The process matters. The process matters a lot. The process is in some ways more important than the results. So that's not my take here. But I just don't know how we can look at the Cowboys, who are having at the moment some of the best quarterback play in the NFL, have one of the most potent wide receiver duos in the NFL, and not feel like the arrow is pointing up. I'm not professing or proclaiming that they're going to win the Super Bowl, but things are kind of positive. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in that. Maybe I really am. I said that this kind of entered my viewpoint on Wednesday. That isn't totally true. This entered my viewpoint on Tuesday. I write our power rankings at bloggingtheboys.com, as you can see here. We also put this out on social every week. So this is pretty, straightforward, but I'll explain it nonetheless. You're looking at the outlets, where they have the Cowboys ranked this week and where they had the Cowboys ranked last week. So at the very top, that's Blog of the Boys right here, baby. I had the Cowboys 12th. I had the Cowboys 12th in my power rankings this week. And last week I had them 17th. So I had them bumped up. ESPN had them 19th. No movement there. No movement from NFL.com, 21st to 21st. USA Today did bump them up slightly from 23 to 21. Yahoo, an even slighter bump from 24 to 23. CBS Sports dropped the Cowboys from 16 to 20. Now, you can drop. Like, I'm not... This isn't like you can't drop after you win a game. You can totally drop after you win a game. You can rise after you lose a game. I mean, power rankings aren't standings, but that feels a little bit silly to me. The Athletic bumped up from 22 to 21, and Sports Illustrated, that's actually backwards on Sports Illustrated. They bumped them up from 29th to 24th. So apologies on the graphic there. Sports Illustrated, I thought, had a great write-up. In fact, to put some respect on Sports Illustrated's name, because that was not a great thing. I actually 19, not 29. There we go. So it was a bit of a typo. I loved this from Sports Illustrated. Shout out to Connor Orr. This is what he wrote at Sports Illustrated about the Cowboys in his power rankings. This Cowboys team has been incredibly gritty through 2 weeks and kept on swinging against the division rival Giants on Sunday, despite nearly 500 yards of offense from just Russell Wilson. Again, that's a fully fair point. This is Connor talking here. I couldn't help but watch Brian Schottenheimer conduct his post-game festivities and see a team that has a lot more affinity for him as a coach than the lot of us. That feeling, I loved this from Connor. He's such a great writer. And wins like these can be powerful. So I'm not here to say, oh, the vibe is great with the Cowboys, and that's why I'm feeling positive about them, and that's why you should feel positive. I'm here to say that the vibe is definitely an amplifying quality to the Cowboys, but the reason you and I and everyone should feel like the Cowboys are on the up and up is that they have, some of the best quarterback play in the NFL happening for them right now. They have one of the most potent wide receiver duos in the NFL playing for them right now. They have a head coach and offensive play caller working on their behalf who has a lot of confidence and belief and gumption with regards to what he's doing. Is the defense in need of work? Duh. Nobody's going to deny that. But last I checked, the modern NFL of 2025 relies a lot on offensive firepower. And if the Cowboys can be that kind of team, they're going to be in the mix way more often than not. That isn't a guarantee that they're going to win 10, 11, 12 games, finally get to the NFC Championship game, get to the Super Bowl. Like, nobody is saying or proclaiming these things. But this is definitely a team that is going to be in the mix way more often than not. And I think that we shouldn't have any kind of crazy overreactions or any overreactions in general after the first 2 weeks of the season. But I do think that that is a fair conclusion to begin to draw. And look, it's hard. I love advanced data. I love advanced metrics. I love advanced information because it tells us a lot about teams, and it can be representative of a number of different factors. And I will say the sample size is very small. It's barely larger than the smallest amount possible. The smallest amount possible is obviously just one game, and we're only through week 2. But FTN Fantasy is the home for DVOA, and I mean, if you love and appreciate data, I do think that you value DVOA. This is offensive DVOA at FTN Fantasy through week 2. So the Green Bay Packers are number 1. They're on fire. That's not a shock. The Cowboys, this is offensive DVOA specifically, are right here at 19th. So, I mean, this isn't ranked properly. Goodness gracious. Let me, there we go. There we go. Number 5. I knew that I clicked this improperly. The Cowboys are the 5th best offense in the NFL from a DVOA standpoint. I don't know. Again, I told you I've had a lot of coffee right now, but this is representative of a team that can contend and that can compete. And I do not like to do everybody talks this way about these teams and they don't talk about my Cowboys this way, but think about the other teams who are on this screen in front of you. Los Angeles Chargers, Green Bay Packers, Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills. I've had a lot of caffeine. Buffalo Bills, the Los Angeles Rams, Indianapolis Colts, the Detroit Lions. Look at the Las Vegas Raiders hanging out here, by the way. My point is that these are teams who we believe in. These are teams, and look, the Chargers have an amazing defense. The Green Bay Packers, we don't have to go there. The Baltimore Ravens speak for themselves. The Bills have some defensive issues as well. The Rams have a lot of sound football all the time. The Colts are kind of a surprise. But my point is, like, when you talk about any of these teams, it's generally from a sense and a standpoint of belief. It's generally from a sense and a standpoint of, I expect them to be contenders this season. That is the case, or should be the case, with regards to the Cowboys. Again, that's all I'm saying, is that this right here, it matters significantly. Being the 5th best offense in the NFL through 2 weeks from a DVOA standpoint, you can pick your metric or your evaluation, method du jour. But the Cowboys have right now one of the most exciting, most explosive, most trustworthy offenses going in the NFL. They're trustworthy from a passing game standpoint. They're trustworthy from a rushing game standpoint. They are kind of singing in perfect harmony all throughout their entire offense. Now, they're down their center, and that matters, but that is one of, if not the most important commodities relative to an NFL team in 2025. And so if that is going to be as a metronome, if that is going to be constant throughout the course of the 2025 season, then I fully believe and I fully trust them to be competitive way more often than not, and actually to win games more often than not. Again, not declaring they're going to win 12 or 13 games or anything absurd like that, but they have the most important thing going for them. They have not just the foundation, they have the foundation and the walls and the roof. They're just missing the coat of paint and, the preferred cabinetry and all sorts of things like that. So this is a team that, again, I think garners a significant level of optimism, one that feels like it isn't totally present at the moment. And I know a lot of people like to say, "Oh, I like it when the Cowboys are doubted anyway," but there's not really a big reason to doubt them as an overall team. You can doubt certain aspects and elements of them, but the driver of the bus is the offense, and right now it looks pretty trustworthy. That's again one way of looking at this, and I recognize that there are a lot. I always like, and you know this, to look at betting odds and tell it, that can tell us different information. So let's take a look at how the Cowboys are faring this week. Put this on your screen here. So this is shout out to FanDuel. These are FanDuel's odds, our preferred sports betting partner at SB Nation. The Cowboys are 1.5-point dogs. And this was where I got a lot of conversation from my buddies in the radio world on Wednesday. A lot of people saying, "Oh, if the Cowboys are really so good, then why are they 1.5-point dogs?" I really can't believe the fanfare that's being made about this. I mean, they're 1.5-point dogs because they're on the road. This is like standard operating procedure for betting in the NFL. They're on the road and against a team that has been down and been bad. But I look, I am not here to tell you I think that the Bears are awesome, but I am here to tell you that they had that game against Minnesota locked up on Monday Night Football and then went full Chicago Bears and pissed it all away. And so, I mean, I think that they're slightly better than an 0-2 record would kind of represent. I'm going to chat with my friend Aaron Lemming about the Chicago Bears. That interview will drop here on the channel on Thursday morning, by the way. So we'll get the full 101 on the Chicago side of things. But yeah, I mean, I think that they're deserving of being 0-2, but my point is they're not even 3-point favorites at home. Look at the other lines in the NFL for week 3. I was going to say week 2. Where are we? Here we go. So Bills are massive favorites. That goes without saying. The Commanders, and look, the Jaden Daniels situation bears monitoring, and I picked them to win on the NFC's mixtape, but they're standard 3-point home favorites against the Raiders this week. The Raiders, whose offense looked horrible, despite the fact that DVOA, believes in them a little bit so far this year. The Panthers are 5.5-point home dogs against the Falcons. That makes sense. Packers, 7.5-point favorites on the road. We will see what that line is next week. It should be very interesting. The Patriots are 1.5-point home dogs against the Steelers. Maybe this is the kind of line that everyone expected with Cowboys Bears. That would be a swing of 3 points, but I digress. The Eagles are barely more than their standard 3-point home favorites against the Rams. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to be a massive favorite. The Eagles are barely favored more than your standard 3 points at home. And the Rams are very good. I understand this, but I mean, you get my point. That's why this is a weird game, this Vikings-Bengals game. The Jaguars are not even 3-point home favorites against the Texans, who have looked crummy and awful and terrible this year. They're eating into that 3-point home field advantage, the Texans are. That's crazy. And there was one more that I was going to use to show the Ravens are 5.5-point home favorites against a Lions team that a lot of people believe in. All right. Now, I know the Ravens have looked awesome, and you could certainly argue that they should be 2-0, but the Lions are massive underdogs. Again, big time team. So there is some understanding in that specific regard. But my point here is I would not read too much into this as this means the Cowboys are not amazing. That's just part of betting in the NFL. Last thing I wanted to look at today, to put one more thing up on your screen. Here we go. This is the Cowboys schedule. Let's just play the game. All right, I think this is a helpful exercise to conduct every so often. Cowboys are 1-1 right now. I think we all think they're going to beat the Bears, right? So take the 1.5 if you want to. It's 2-1. If we speak conservatively, I think they're going to lose to the Packers. It would be awesome. It would be amazing. It would be incredible theater if they beat the Packers next week, especially if the Packers win on Sunday against Cleveland. I mean, it would just be like chef's kiss for a lot of reasons. But I think they'll lose. So I think we're looking at a 2-2 team next Sunday night. And then it gets kind of interesting, right? They'll be 2-2. I think they'll beat the Jets. They'll beat the Panthers. That puts them at 4-2 in my little prediction game here. And then they maybe split the series this season with the Commanders. Maybe they win the home game. That puts them at 5-2. Maybe they lose that game. Let's put them at 4-3 right there. Denver's kind of interesting right now. It's kind of hard to trust Denver. I think Arizona I picked the Cardinals to win the NFC West. I have the hardest time quitting Kyler Murray. I know that I'm the last person there. It's not about dying on the hill. I just will forever find him exciting to watch. But I think they'll split those games too, because I think, it's kind of a weird time right before the bye. So we said, looking at this specific slate of games here, they beat Chicago, they lose to Green Bay, they beat the Jets, they beat the Panthers. say I think they win 2 of the next 3 then. So let's give them 2 more wins and 1 more loss. That's 5 wins and 2 losses in that run. That would put them at 6-3. 6-3 optimistically and 5-4 conservatively. I think you take that 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. And I think that feels very well within reach, very practical. And again, maybe you rip off some surprises. Maybe you beat Washington, Denver, and Arizona. Who knows? Maybe you beat the Green Bay Packers. But I think that, this run through early November is, and look, based on what lurks beyond it, you kind of have to take advantage of it if you're the Cowboys. Although right now that Chiefs game doesn't look super stressful. That Lions game, I know they looked great last week, but you never know. The Vikings doesn't look super terrifying. Like that gauntlet post bye doesn't feel as scary as it did in May when the schedule came out. I think if you get to 5 wins, 6 wins, and that continues to feel within reach for the Cowboys, I think that, ultimately this team's gonna, they're going to be pretty happy when they get to right around Thanksgiving. So that's kind of where I'm at, feeling optimistic. Again, I'm not that person. I'm not a homer. I'm not somebody who's like, oh, you just are a hater, blah, blah, blah. That's not my thing. But for some reason, I feel the need to say it, and it could just be all of this. And I still have a lot to go. So, all right. Aaron Lemming interview coming on Thursday here on the channel. Madden simulation coming on Friday. It is that time of year. Madden has correctly predicted both games, by the way. Predicted the Cowboys to lose to Philadelphia and predicted the Cowboys to beat the Giants. So we'll see what it says on Friday. If you want to hang out with me on social media, I am on X, Instagram, Threads at Ochoa. I have a Facebook page. I'm on LinkedIn, a billion different places you can hang out with me. Also, like the video, subscribe, tell a friend. It's the best time of year, and I'm so grateful and blessed to spend it all with you. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Let's bust a move. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you eat something amazing. I hope you watch something incredible on television, and I can't wait to do it all again with you and hang out tomorrow. So let's get out of here. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone, and we will see you next time.